Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
The Indian Knowledge System Division, that is IKS Division of the Ministry of Education, was established in October 2020 with a vision to promote interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary research on all aspects of Indian knowledge system. Let's know all about it from Professor Ganti Murthy.
Namaste again and welcome back. We'll now talk about the Indian Knowledge Systems Division, Bharatiya Jnana Parampara Vibhag of the Ministry of Education, Government of India, and we would like to give you a brief introduction of that division as we go forward. The Indian Knowledge Systems Division of the Ministry was established in 2020 and it's a 3-year-old division where we work from the AICT headquarters, and it is a division that consists of a national coordinator, myself, and coordinators and research fellows. We are a team of 12 people who are working on various aspects of Indian knowledge systems in the country. So again, as we discussed earlier, we focus on the Drishti, Bharatiya Drishti, Bharatiya Jnana Parampara, and the Laukika Prayojana. The Drishti is the unique perspective that makes the knowledge systems Indian knowledge systems Indian, and then the Parampara, the continuous transmission of knowledge that has been there, continuous knowledge traditions that were there, and then the Laukika Prayojana, the practical utility of this knowledge for today's world, contemporary world. These are the three aspects, three pillars on which the Indian Knowledge Systems Division of the IKS division works. And the vision of our division is to rejuvenate and mainstream Indian knowledge systems for the contemporary world. And the objective of the division is to decolonize the Indian mind and by generating a healthy and critical reverence for this unbroken knowledge traditions of Bharata for the welfare of the world. And what we are working in the division is we work across the educational curriculums, across the education system of our country, starting from the school education, higher education, research scholars, researchers, with individual researchers and institutions. So there's a lot of things that we do with the various school boards, higher education agencies like UGC, AICT, and then we work on various research scholars, strengthening the research ecosystem in IKS, and then institutional support. We also do a lot of outreach activities across Bharat for basically spreading the Indian knowledge systems and bringing awareness about the Indian knowledge systems to the general public. So this is essentially the conceptual map of all the IKS division interventions in our country. And one of the things that we fund is we look into catalyzing original, serious and deep scholarly research in Indian knowledge systems. And because we need to rejuvenate this IKS research in India, so we have what we call as an outcome-based IKS research programs. We are very happy to let you know that we are currently funding about 88 research projects from the IKS division in these areas, interdisciplinary projects, highly competitive proposals. What do we fund in these areas, research areas? We fund research that leads to solutions to current societal problems. Interdisciplinary research that integrate IKS and the contemporary knowledge systems in a comprehensive way. Research projects that have clear objectives and measurable outputs. High-risk proposals, because we want to have that entrepreneurial spirit, pioneering spirit, which we want to encourage through the IKS research. And what do we not fund under IKS research initiatives? Routine proposals that are not relevant to advancing the IKS division's vision, and proposals that will only have marginal IKS content, or pseudoscience proposals. These proposals we don't even touch. And proposals without clear objectives or outcomes. Things that will say we want to bring past glory, re-establish the world dominance. No, we don't want to fund such proposals because they are unrealistic objectives. And proposals that will only focus on a single discipline because they are better served by other agencies, so we don't focus on them. And proposals that simply talk about doing literature surveys, translation, transliteration tools, dictionaries, social studies, surveys, those kind of things we don't really support in the research initiative. There are other places where we do support manuscripts, digitization, OCR, cataloging, those kind of things, but not under research initiative, because this is primarily a primary research program where we want to encourage a deep scholarly original research. And what are the examples of research themes that we have funded in the past? You can see there are 14 themes. Starts with mathematics and astronomy, metallurgy and material science and technology, chemical science and technology, health, wellness and consciousness studies, political and economic thought, and foreign policy, art and culture, IQS approaches for management of water resources, architectural engineering, Shilpa Shastra, Vastu Shastra, universal sociological models based on emic perspective. What is the Bharatiya perspective on various sociological challenges, models, and things like that, issues that are coming up around the world? And what are the IKS approaches for psychology, cognition, linguistics, and epistemology and phonetics, engineering, science, and technology? What are the Pashu Ayurveda based approaches, sustainable agriculture, food preservation, evidence-based music and dance interventions? These are all the research themes that we have funded from the IKS division in the past. And for examples of few IKS projects, we are conducting a research project in Nagaland on Zabo farming system, which talks about which there are farmer managed traditional irrigation system under hill environments. So when you have hills, rolling hills, how do you really manage the water in such challenging environments is something that we are studying in Nagaland. This has been traditionally been practiced in many parts of the Northeast, and we are now bringing in modern water science and engineering to this to study and understand how it is being done, and along with the agriculture engineering. For example, we know that Upanishads had an influence on the Western literary discourses, on consciousness. What is that influence? How did they do that? So this is another project that we have funded. And we are also funding a project on Pashu Ayurveda formulation, because we want to reduce the antibiotic usage in our cattle for various infections that are leading to the rise of antimicrobial resistance, basically antimicrobial resistance strains. And this is a very serious concern, because we want to really reduce the use of antibiotics. And why is this important? Because 70% of the antibiotics, by the way, are used in animal farming. Therefore, if we can reduce that by Pashu Ayurveda interventions, which are plant-based, much more healthy for the animals, and also less expensive, and can be obtained in the regional places, basically using regional resources, then it will improve the economic status of the farmers, but also be better for the entire world. And another thing that we are looking into, what is known as a Mrittika Jiva Mishrana, which is basically mentioned in a Kashyapiya Krushi Paddhati. And we are trying to do a scientific analysis of how that improves the plant health, soil microbiome, and improves the management of the soil fertility. These are all things that we are studying in some of the research projects. I will invite you all to look into all the 88 research projects on the IKS India website. And we also have, in addition to research programs, we have IKS centers, which are called Bharatiya Jnana Samposhana Kendra, Gaveshana Kendras. So these are centers that are designed to encourage and fund establishment of the IKS centers across the country to catalyze original research, education, and dissemination. So all the IKS centers under research center scheme have three pillars. First pillar is the research pillar, which talks about interdisciplinary research in 2 to 4 thematic areas, and education mentoring. The second pillar consists of education and mentoring. The third pillar consists of the outreach and dissemination of the knowledge, and all of this on 2 to 4 thematic areas. And these thematic areas are about 20 thematic areas that we have come up with, cover the entire spectrum of the Chaturdash Vidyasthanas and all the aspects of Indian knowledge system and the contemporary knowledge systems. So you'll see holistic medicine and wellness, Indian psychology and yoga, IKS-based approaches for economics, governance and political systems, management and leadership, law and jurisprudence, artistic traditions, philosophical traditions, management and development of water resources, IKS approaches to conserve biodiversity and ecological protection, because this is a huge thing in our country, that even our regular lifestyle practices, festivals are designed around protecting and conserving ecological protection and diversity, biodiversity. Indian sports and martial arts. We were a country that is the originator not only of the democracy but is also the mother of martial arts, Kalari Payattu from Kerala, which was taken to China and it became Kung Fu and all of the Shaolin Kung Fu, all of those other things, Karate and Taekwondo, all of those things from our Kalari Payattu. So we have centers on that. And architectural engineering, town planning and civil engineering, sustainable agriculture, noble metals, rustless iron, metal mirrors, so many advances. Chola bronzes, these are all things that we need to study. Observational astronomy and calendar systems. We have one of the most scientific calendar systems in the world today. That is, our Panchanga system is the most accurate way of actually calculating and most scientific way of doing observational astronomy and then connecting it to a calendar system. All our traditional calendars are built around the changes in the nature. So we are studying that. And how did we build our ships? We talked about how India traded across the oceans, went across the oceans to various continents like Africa. We went to the east, all the way up to the China. How did we go? What kind of ships did we use? How did we build those ships? What kind of measurements did we use? And how did we navigate? These are all things that we are studying through our IK centers. Chemistry in India, what kind of basically chemistry practices did we have in the country? How did we purify zinc, which was basically rest of the world was unable to do that for a longest time? How did we make some of the steel that was rustless? How did we make some of the toughest steel called urukku, which is known as wood steel and now was made into Damascus swords? These are all things that we want to study, and we study through our IK centers. What was the basis of classification in India for plants and animals? What is the botany and zoology in India? There are many texts where they were translating Sanskrit terminologies into Latin, and how did they really take all of that knowledge, and what is that knowledge that is contained? What are the IK's approaches to Vrikshayurveda and Pashu Chikitsa? How did we Vijayanagara Empire, when Sri Krishna Deva Raya was there, and during that time we were one of the world's leaders in making perfumes. Perfumes from Kannauj even today are famous. How did we make that? Why? How did that Shastra work? Perfumery and cosmetics. We have 17 different creams for acne in Ayurveda. How did we do all of that? Should we study those? These are all the things that IK centers across the country, sponsored by the Ministry of Education's IK's division, are working on. And in addition to that, it's very important for us to make sure that we teach and develop materials that are authentic, so that it will enable faculty across the country to teach this Indian knowledge systems courses. So for that, we are establishing IK centers called Shikshaka Prashikshana Kendras. So in these Kendras, the idea is to establish IK centers which will prepare course materials and disseminate that content with a special focus on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics and arts disciplines, STEAM disciplines. And so these are the kind of things that we do in these centers. For example, a course on Nyaya Shastra for computer science students in their second year of engineering will be something useful, because a Nyaya Shastra teaches you how to develop a sound foundation for logic. And then how can you argue? How can you construct your arguments and logic? That will be useful for computer science students as they design some of their arguments, algorithms and things like that. But a Nyaya Shastra student already pursuing a degree in Nyaya Shastra, for them, this is something that they are routine for them. So this is not suitable for an IK center. But a course on Nyaya Shastra for computer science, you see that interdisciplinarity. Nyaya Shastra is from the traditional IK's domain, is being taught to computer science students who are in contemporary domains. That is essentially what we are trying to fund. And a mathematics course on mathematics or computer logic, on the other hand, which is essentially the modern development for Nyaya Shastra students. That is something that we want to encourage. Simply a computer logic student for computer science students is something that they already do. That is not something we will fund. A Tantra Yukti, the methods of hypothesis formation in science and engineering students, that is something that we want to do. Tantra Yukti is a normal topic for Ayurveda students, so that is not something that we will fund. will fund Tantra Yukti from the IKS domain for science and engineering students. Vedanga Jyotisha from traditional Jyotisha Shastra for postgraduate students in mathematics and astronomy. How did they develop those methods? How did the series of Madhava converge? What is the speed at which they converge? Or what did Nilakanta Somyaji's model talk about? And what is the course on Kerala School of Mathematics for BA Mathematics or MA Mathematics students? A course on the foundational design aspects of buildings, which are discussed in Vastu Shastra texts like Mayamatam and things like that for civil engineering students, or a course on Vriksha Ayurveda for agriculture students. These are the kind of things that we are funding through the Shikshaka Prashikshana Kendra. So you see, we are focusing on the interdisciplinary and cross-disciplinary fertilization, pollination of ideas. So this is what will keep our Jnana Parampara alive. This will bring the Bharatiya Drishti and make sure that the knowledge that is there is not only preserved, but it gets transmitted and gets created as well, continuing that parampara cycle. And how do we do this? Typically, we have these centers. They typically conduct a preparatory workshop and curate the content for each course, where each course will have about 30 to 40 lectures, which are 40 to 50 minutes in duration typically. And these lectures are delivered in regular classrooms under video recording settings, and then lecture notes are prepared and possible questions are prepared, and those videos are condensed into about 30-minute videos. And at the end, there is a faculty training program for each course that happens, and about 50 faculty at least from various parts of the country are trained, and all of these faculty members are given these materials so that they can take it and then to their institutions and then teach these courses in their own way. And by teaching these courses in their own way, by accessing the authentic materials that have been prepared by a team of experts, the faculty members are empowered to teach these courses, and within few short years, the expectation is that they will be able to teach these courses on their own and become not only teachers but also become acharyas, because they will also be involved in the research as they go forward. And each center is basically expected to deliver 2 to 4 courses in 18 months and 30 to 40 videos of 30-minute length, lecture notes, assignment questions. These are all the things that we expect these centers to deliver, and many centers are in the process of developing these courses and things like that. And we have about 53 centers, 17 centers that are Shikshaka Prashikshana Kendras, and about 33 centers that are basically 26 centers that are Gaveshana Kendras, IKS centers which do primary research, and 7 Bhasha Kendras. And we follow a very rigorous process of review in all our review processes, whether it is for research proposals, IKS centers, or IKS Shikshaka Prashikshana Kendras. So there is a 3-phase review process that happens, and in this process, there is completely anonymous review, and therefore we maintain the neutrality of the process, impartial and transparent and very rigorous, meritorious, merit-based review process, where in the phase 1, we select the shortlist the proposals that have good integration between the IKS and the contemporary knowledge systems. In the phase 2, there is a deep review of each proposal that takes place by at least by a team of 3 experts in the domain. And in the phase 3, there is a separate panel that looks at the presentations that the PI makes to the panel. And after these 2 expert committees, which one involved in phase 1 and phase 2 have recommended to another panel in phase 3, then we rank the proposals by merit list and we fund them. And one of the beautiful things about the proposal writing to the submission to the Indian Knowledge Systems division is that it is a completely electronic process, number 1. And second thing, most exciting thing for us, is that you can submit the proposals to Indian Knowledge Systems in any Bharatiya Bhashas. And it is a matter of pride and honor for us that a lot of the researchers across the country have submitted scientific research proposals, center proposals, and Shikshaka Prashikshana Kendras, the course proposals to us in various languages like in Tamil, Hindi, Malayalam, Telugu, Kannada, Marathi, Odia, Bengali, Bodo, Assamese, Sindhi, Punjabi, and Gujarati, Sanskrit, and of course English. So you can see we are encouraging the linguistic diversity, plurality of our country with the Jivana Darshana. This is what the IKS division stands for, and we are very proud that we do conduct not only the review of the process, we also the panel presentations are done in the Bharatiya Bhashas that the PI is most familiar with, because we believe that the Bharatiya Bhashas are the carriers of Indian knowledge systems. And this is a comparison of various schemes that we have. We also have, in addition to the research proposals, Gaveshana Kendras, which are the primary research centers, the Bhasha Kendras, which focus on the Bharatiya Bhashas, and then the Shikshika Prashikshana Kendras, which are focusing on the teacher training and course material development. We have internship programs for various youth, and in each of these things you can see some of them we can do primary research. For example, in some of them we can do secondary research. In fact, in some of them you should not do primary research. It is focused primarily on the secondary research part. Documentation, field surveys, course content development, translation, teacher training, outreach activities. You see that there are a variety of courses where you can do all kinds of things here, and a variety of schemes where you can do some of these combinations. And our request will be for you all to look at these things and apply for the most appropriate scheme, and we will be looking forward to receiving your applications in this area.